thought he was a really nice guy. Jimmy Olsen was fantastic.
Hey!
Huh?
Come here. Come on. Get in here. Hurry up. Come on.
Clark, I think we better get out of here.
I think we better do what he says, Lois.
That's it. Come on. Get in here, quick.
Don't do anything.
That's it.
It's all right. We're coming.
Come on.
We're coming.
Come on.
Oh, back here?
Yeah.
Please don't point that at me, sir. You could hurt somebody with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Hold it there.
Just a minute, mister. Just a minute. Now, I realize, of course, that times are tough for some these days, but this isn't the answer. You can't solve society's problems with a gun.
You know something, buddy? You're right. I'm gonna turn over a new leaf.
Good for you, sir. That's the spirit. See, he doesn't really want to hurt anybody.
Uh-huh.
Right after I rip off this lady's purse.
Of course.
Now, come on, lady, hand it over.
Lois, I think maybe you better... Lois, what are you doing?
Clark! Are you all right, Clark? What happened?
Golly, I guess I must have fainted.
Fainted? You fainted?
Sorry.
Well.
Well, really, Lois? Supposing that man had shot you. Is it worth risking your life over $10, 2 credit cards, a hairbrush, and a lipstick?
How did you know that?
Well, what?
You just described the exact contents of my purse.
Wild guess.
Superman a moment ago, and I think the thing that's so endearing about that first attempt at Superman was Reeve. Reeve really, I think, is underappreciated. I think he is so good as Clark Kent, particularly. You know, I look back at that movie, and I can't claim to have loved it when it came out, but because I felt like the movie kind of made a hard right. They introduced Zod and these villains. By the way, I interviewed Jack O'Halloran, and he was hilarious.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he kept talking about how he had to stand around the set with Brando, and Brando this and Brando that, and Brando, I guess, Brando was a real prankster, but Donner famously said he didn't have problems with Brando on Superman, probably because Brando needed that paycheck. I think Brando could sort of gauge who he could fuck with, i.e. Coppola on Apocalypse Now, and maybe not so much Donner on Superman. And it was a shorter shoot with shorter, sort of logistics built around it. But Halloran just went back and forth on Brando. Brando was a prankster. Brando, you never knew what you were going to get. But Donner, and you worked with Donner said, I think publicly, that Brando was great on that.
He was. But you know the story about when he first met Brando?
No.
Dick tells the story much better, but Dick had a meeting set up at Brando's home on Mulholland Drive, and Dick went up there, and he was warned ahead of time that Brando was going to try to manipulate Dick so that he could get by with doing as little as possible while being paid as much as possible.
Right.
So Dick went in, and Brando said, I see Jor-El as a bagel or a green suitcase. So all you have to do is just show the bagel or the green suitcase, and I'll dub my voice in later. And and Dick.
Nope.
Dick said he was just really taken aback, but he very calmly responded and said, Marlon, every kid in the world knows what Jor-El looks like, and you don't want to disappoint millions of children who have that image in their mind by having him be a bagel or a green suitcase. And Marlon thought about it and said, "You're right." And Dick said from then on, he was so lovely to work with.
Yeah,
and listened to Donner all the time.
It's a good way to put him in check, right? He was notorious for exactly that. And I have a Brando story from right before he died. You used to see him at Casa Vega all the time at lunch, but when I was based at the Warner Hollywood lot, then known as the lot, I got a Brando story that I won't bore people with now, but his agent towards the end of his life was trying to get him work in anything, or at least get him considered for work. Probably reading offers is what it probably came down to for Brando, just to pay the mortgage. But it's Donner handled that really well, because Brando was notorious for that very thing. In fact, he had kind of like drummed himself out of Hollywood for that mentality. But at some point, you got to look at Brando and be like, Marlon, if I'm hungry and I walk into the deli and I want a bagel, that bagel better be good. Otherwise, I get mad at that bagel and I get mad at that whole flipping deli, and I never go back. So at some point, the analogies of I'll dub my voice in or make this more complicated. Donner showed a masterful approach to how to handle a personality there, and God bless him for making the creative, conductivity to make it all kind of come together. So it's interesting. But and Brando was good in it. Brando sold it, and Brando sells it later, because he's got the most pivotal moment, I think, not in the beginning, but when he tells Superman what his destiny really is, what it is to be. It's like that Jesus moment where Jesus doesn't want to be Jesus until he suddenly has that conversation with God where he says, doesn't matter what you want, it's what the world needs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful. I should find those old Jack O'Halloran movies, because Jack O'Halloran, man, talk about a guy who cut his teeth in crazy.
Wow, I'd love to hear his stories.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.